Welcome back to Sundry News for Friday, May 29th. This is an additional, perhaps a special edition of Sundry News. This is Election Wire, brought to you by the Daily Wire, for May 29th, 2020. As cities across the country melt down in protests of the death of an unarmed black man while being detained by white police officers in Minnesota, the 2020 race is still on the back burner for most Americans. But presumptive Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden is full steam ahead vetting potential running mates, and one new name is rising fast, while a seasoned politician's star is rapidly falling. Meanwhile, Trump and Twitter have officially declared war. 1. Val Deming vaults in Veep stakes. Clever. It's nearly June, which means the Democratic National Convention is just 11 weeks away. In modern presidential contests, the challenger usually names his running mate just before the convention. So, who will Joe Biden pick? The presumptive nominee has already pledged to pick a female running mate, and after a firestorm erupted when Biden told a black radio host last week that, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black, political pundits and pollsters are predicting he'll be under pressure to pick a black female as his running mate. I think he already was. While there's Senator Kamala Harris, a failed 2020 presidential candidate, Stacey Abrams, a failed 2018 Georgia gubernatorial candidate, and Michelle Obama, a failed first wife, who has repeatedly said she doesn't want the job, a new name has been rising up in the odds set by bookies who put their money where their mouths are. Representative Val Demings, 63. She's 63? She does not look 63. Is a former career law enforcement officer who served as chief of police in Orlando, Florida for 4 years before entering politics. After a couple electoral losses, Demings won the Florida 10th Congressional District seat in 2016, then ran unopposed 2 years later. Demings' star has been rising quickly. In January, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi picked Demings to serve as one of 7 impeachment managers in the Senate trial of President Trump. Bookies are taking note. Last Friday, her odds were plus 2,000. I don't know how to read betting jargon, to be on the Democratic ticket. By the weekend, she was all the way up to plus 1,200, according to bookies.com. 2. Klobuchar pick looks unlikely now. A chief consideration for presidential candidates in selecting a running mate is if he or she can help deliver their own home state. With just a handful of swing states, picking a vice presidential nominee from Pennsylvania, Florida, Ohio, or a few others could tip the balance. Which brings up Minnesota. Hillary Clinton defeated President Trump in 2016 by just 44,593 votes out of 2,691,057. Democrats dearly want to hold on to the state, and Republicans vow to make a play for the state this time around. Enter Senator Amy Klobuchar. The 3-term senator, 60, ran for the 2020 nomination but came up short, although many politicos praised her campaign and her solid performances in the Democratic debates. Unlike Demings, Klobuchar is a polished politician, and with Biden at 77 years old, many voters would accept Klobuchar as someone who could step up to the presidency if needed. But a huge new problem just emerged for her. When she was a state prosecutor earlier in her career, she declined to prosecute the police officer at the center of the death of George Floyd over previous conduct complaints. Floyd died after an arrest that involved 4 Minneapolis police officers, including Derek Chauvin, who in a video shot by an onlooker is seen with his knee on Floyd's neck as Floyd said he could not breathe. Riots are raging in several cities, and race is suddenly about to play a big role in the election taking place just 158 days from now. Biden will, indeed, be under great pressure to pick a black woman, and picking a running mate from the 5th whitest state in America might not be the best call. And remember the first rule of picking Veeps. First, do no harm. 3. Mad Maxine Waters says Trump to blame for cops killing black people. Yeah. Representative Maxine Waters, Democrat, California, who has been trying to impeach the president since the day he took office, this week blamed Trump for cops killing black people. How old is she? If this person is 63, I would wager, this person must be 203. Sounds about right. I'm reflecting on all of the I'm reflecting on all of the killings of young black men in particular, but of course, black women too, at the hands of the police, and at the hands of these white supremacists, Waters told TMZ. And I'm thinking about the way that the president conducts himself. In a way, he's dog whistling. And I think that they're feeling that they can get away with this kind of treatment. But Trump immediately took action upon hearing about the death of George Floyd. At my request, the FBI and the Department of Justice are already well into an investigation as to the very sad and tragic death in Minnesota of George Floyd, Trump wrote on Twitter. I have asked for this investigation to be expedited and greatly appreciate all of the work done by local law enforcement. My heart goes out to George's family and friends. Justice will be served. Look for Democrats to fan the flames of racial discord for the next 5 months. As former Barack Obama advisor Rahm Emanuel once said, you never want a serious crisis to go to waste. You might like Birch Gold Group. Millions to be hit hard by this scheme to confiscate savings. Alan Greenspan, 20-year head of the U.S. Federal Reserve, reveals Washington's nasty trick to confiscate the savings of unsuspecting Americans. Are your savings exposed to this threat? Here's what Greenspan says can protect your savings. 4. Trump and Twitter go to war. Trump has long been blasting social media platforms over anti-conservative, anti-Republican bias, but things really came to a head this week and in a way that's connected directly to the election. On Wednesday, for the first time ever, Twitter censored Trump via a fact-check on his tweets warning about the potential of fraud with mail-in ballots. Trump swiped back on Thursday by issuing an executive order calling on the Federal Communications Commission to re-examine the extent to which social media companies are protected from liability. But that wasn't the end of it. In response to the riots in Minneapolis late Thursday, Trump slammed the rioters, warning, when the looting starts, the shooting starts. Twitter promptly censored the tweet, saying it glorified violence. No. It makes sense. And honestly, I mean, if that's all that it said, that's not saying that looters are going to be shot. That is saying that, allowing yourself to go out and loot stuff because you're protesting is going to lead to other forms of violence, including shooting each other. Trump responded early Friday by vowing regulatory action. Twitter is doing nothing about all of the lies and propaganda being put out by China or the radical left Democrat Party. They have targeted Republicans, conservatives, and the President of the United States. Section 230 should be revoked by Congress. Until then, it will be regulated. 5. By the numbers, Trump versus Biden. With everything in chaos, race riots, 41 million Americans unemployed in 9 weeks, a virus still sweeping across the country, and even cannibal bats, it's not surprising that both Trump and Biden dropped in the polls this week. A week ago, Biden was leading 48.6% to 43.7%, according to a running average of polls compiled by the Real Clear Politics by Real Clear Politics. Now it's 47.7% to 42.2%, so Biden still holds a healthy lead at 5.3%. The two surveys released this week. Economist/YouGov, Biden up 3. Fox News, Biden up 8. In important swing states, the RCP averages look like this. Wisconsin, Biden up 2.7. Michigan, Biden up 5.5. Florida, Biden up 3.5. Pennsylvania, Biden up 6.5. North Carolina, Trump up 1.0. Minnesota, Biden up 5%. 5. Just 5. Meme of the week. When you repeat, look fat in the mirror 3 times in a row. Election Wire is a weekly email newsletter featuring the latest in election news, polling data, and analysis from the Daily Wire. Was this newsletter forwarded to you? Request next week's Election Wire here and share it with your friends. Thank you to the Daily Wire.